Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn with me, Pitmarthroy. In the last episode, we got started on the first part, or the first chapter of the third part. And I already mentioned that I don't find it that great. I don't know why, but I just don't. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why I don't like it. Maybe it's because the other units, which is the Lagoose units, maybe it's because they take too long. I think that's part of it. I already mentioned another reason is because I just feel that it's too slow and they don't give you enough enemy units to face. They don't make it a challenge. And it shouldn't be, like, impossibly difficult, even though it is the... I mean, maybe it's because they thought, well, it's only Chapter 1. Well, yeah, it's Chapter 1 of the third part. We should know how to fight by now. I mean, if they want to make it easy, they should have done that in the first chapter of the first part. And I honestly think that part was actually a little bit harder because... if you're not careful, you could have lost Edward or Leonardo or Micaiah. But, you know, the Girl Mercenaries are so overpowered compared to the enemy units. Well, except for maybe, you know, like Rhys or Mist. That they really don't have to put that much effort into taking out just a few enemies. And I think that's the closest I'll ever come to explaining why I don't like this map. It's just, there's not enough enemies... because I do want a challenge in my games, and, you know, I only put this on easy, but I'm sure if I put it on normal, I could still probably do this level without much effort. But I don't know, maybe it's just one of those things. Note that these are killer ballistas, and so they might get occasional criticals. Like that, for example. Figures, that gives Shinon the killer bow and he can't get criticals, and the one time he goes up to a killer ballista, boom, no problem. Typical. Now, as for the Girl Mercenaries I'm going to be using, obviously I'm going to have to use Ike. I'm going to be using either Rhys or Mist, I'm not sure which one. I don't know. How about you guys put in the comments, which of these two do you want me to use, Rhys or Mist? I don't really care. The healer I actually use the most is, believe it or not, Laura from the Dawn Brigade. I like using her. She's actually a pretty decent unit. Especially if you can get her to class change, because then she can start using light magic. And she gets really good after that. I think we'll probably be able to get this level done within this part. I'd be actually kind of surprised if we didn't. Because lengthwise it's actually not that bad. The weird thing about using the Girl Mercenaries is I don't really like them as much as I used to. Like, in Path of Radiance, maybe it's because, you know, they were the units you had to use. But in Radiant Dawn, I like the Crimean Knights and the Dayan army more. Especially the Crimean army. They're really good, especially with, you know, Har and Nephany and all them. They just seem like, overall, they're better units, and maybe it's because there's not as many or something. I don't honestly know. One thing I do not like about this, and granted they can give you the ability to transfer over status and stuff like that if you've got the right stuff on Path of Radiance, but I hate how in games they just, what's the word I'm looking for, like, after you complete a game and, you know, like, your units are all maxed out, like, level 20, you know, they've got the best stats possible, and then they come back in the sequel, and it's like, all the stuff they had is gone. They explain why Ragnell is not with Ike anymore. It's because it was the sacred weapon of Benyang, so he gave it back. But, I don't know, maybe, I just don't like that idea of, where did all their... maybe not their weapons, but where did all their HP go? Or stuff like that. Because Soren had over 40 HP at the end of my walkthrough. And now he's only got, what, 28? I mean, that's ridiculous. Well, he was standing right in front of the ballista. He kind of earned that one. But I don't know, I just don't like that idea overall. And I really just don't like the Girl Mercenaries. I don't know why, but I just don't like them as much in this game. Maybe it's just one of my weird things, but I don't know. That'll be filed under another one of, why can't I explain this correctly things? Not really much to explain about the actual level. I mean, I already kind of mentioned there's really not enough units for you to fight. You get a coin from that archer. I mean, maybe it's just me, but does it seem like, you guys, does it seem like this is a little too easy? I mean, it just seems like I'm hardly putting any effort into this, and I'm winning very easily. I'm not having to think about it hardly. I'm just sending units forward and attacking, and I'm doing much better than the enemy units are. I mean, they really lack on the enemy things, and maybe it's just because of all the trees and the shrubs and everything, but... as I've said about 100 times already, I just do not know. And if you guys can explain what I'm trying to explain of why this level is not that great, please let me know, because I honestly couldn't tell you exactly why I hate the level. There's reasons why, but I can't seem to phrase it correctly. I just don't like this level. I mean, this is a huge part. This third part is extremely long. And so you'd think it would be a little more... well, I don't know, enjoyable? I mean, I know there's some levels later on that are horrible, especially in Part 4, because the dreaded desert level from Path of Radiance, level 15, does make its return appearance. Fortunately, you have a lot of flying units in that area, so the sand doesn't even affect you hardly at all. I did like Part 4 a lot. Part 4 provides a very good challenge. It's called Gods and Men, and it's very, very good. I love that part. I have to think, though, I think overall my favorite part was 1, and then 2. I think 2, the only problem with it, it was really short. Like, a little too short. And then Part 4, it's very challenging, but, you know, it's a little weird. But, we'll go over that when we get there. So yeah, after about halfway through the map, they, Septimus and this guy right here start talking, and the general runs off, and so this guy is now the boss. And he was the guy that had the crossbow, so once you beat him, you'll be taking the crossbow, provided you're the one that beats him. If you notice, whenever the turn ends, the victory is actually if Skirmir arrives, so you're not arriving with Ike. Nobody's actually arriving except for him. Which I find is funny, because typically arriving is, as long as somebody lands on that point and you hit arrive, then it's okay. Whenever a specific person has to land on the space, it's called seize. Like, for example, seizing could only be done by either Micaiah, Alencia, or Ike, depending on which part you're in. Because if you couldn't tell by now, each part had a unit that can't die. Micaiah was for Part 1, Alencia for Part 2, and Ike's obviously for Part 3. And none of them can die throughout the entire storyline. Like, even in Part 4, they can't die. Actually, no, we're gonna have Shine and Shoot first. There we go. I need to get Boyd to get a little bit more health. And like I said already, guys, put in the comments of who you want me to use, either Boyd or not Boyd, I'm sorry, Rhys or Mist. I don't care which, really. I just use Rhys because, you know, he was right there. And if you think about it, it kind of made sense from that perspective, because Mist only has 1 heal staff, Rhys has 2. And, you know, we can't use the shop just yet, so... if Rhys loses the heal staff, it's not the end of the world. If Miss loses the heal staff, she can't heal anymore unless I trade something over from Rhys to her. I'm so glad this map's almost over. It is just so boring. I don't know why. Yeah, even though I've already explained fairly well why I don't like the map. I think another thing was it was pretty poorly built, too. It seems like they just kind of threw it together. Maybe not at the last minute, but just threw it together overall. It just lacks something. I'm not entirely sure what that something is, but it lacks something. It does not lack mages, however. There are lots of mages on this map. All fire mages, so it's designed to counter the Lagoos, because tigers and cats are weak to fire magic. We have not seen a thunder mage nor a wind mage in this entire map, except for Soren, who is on our side, so that doesn't really count. Get some light over there. Not a lot, but a little bit. Another thing about Fog of War, even though we haven't had a thief... Well, actually, yeah, we have. We've had Heather in a Fog of War map. Thieves will have a lot better lighting on Fog of War maps than any of the other units. So if you kind of want to see what's what, then you probably want to put a thief not as far forward as you can, because you don't want to like send them into a huge crowd of enemy units, but put them about halfway, get some light, and then you can start attacking. And that was actually a pretty bad idea on that enemy unit's part, because she had a ranged weapon. I don't know what he was thinking right there. Probably because he was the only one that actually could have been attacked. But oh well, no matter. Alright, I don't think Shinon will be able to hit anything else in this chapter. That's another problem with this one, is after the ballista kind of lose their range, and the lower one will lose its range a lot further where it can't attack anything anymore, archers Shinon and Rolf can't really catch up. They're just kind of, you know, they'll catch up eventually, but by the time they do, all the enemy units are going to be gone, because there's only about 8 or 9 left. So the archers don't really get a lot of glory. And you'll notice they can't get kills very easily, but whenever they fight regularly, they can actually get kills very easily. But in this part, they just don't seem to be able to get kills very easily. This takes so long each and every time. I guarantee if we didn't have to watch this animation for each individual one, this map would probably already be done. Alright, let's see. Can he hit anything? No, he cannot. Rolf can probably hit a few more targets, but I don't know. Yeah, just that one. Alright, so that's Rolf's last hit for the day. Unfortunate, but that's probably what's going to happen. Can Oscar move backward? Because if he can... Okay, cool. Because now I can do this. Gatrie! Cooperate with me! I don't like to use Gatrie too much either, just because, I don't know, he seems to have gotten a little bit worse as well. Okay, as much as I don't like it, this is probably going to escalate to 3 parts. I think probably all the enemies are going to die this turn, but I don't think that can happen in the course of a minute. Because this animation takes way too long. I knew there was a healer somewhere on this map. So yeah, it looks like we're going to start the next part with just the boss left. Maybe one soldier, I don't know. Nah, just the boss and that soldier. So next time, I'm going to skip all this animation because it's very annoying.